Hi fans, and thank you for joining us for this week's edition of St. Vincent head football coach Bob Colbert's video blog right here on stvincent.edu. I'm Jim Berger, joined as always by Coach Colbert. This past week, the Bearcats traveled to President's Athletic Conference rival Grove City College, and for the first three quarters it really was a defensive struggle until the fourth quarter. The offenses really were on display, but St. Vincent came up short 41-20. Defense's performance really stood out to me, especially the first 2 or 3 quarters, limiting Grove City to only 1 or 2 really good drives. They just scored their first touchdown on the fake punt. That's really saying something, limiting a quarterback like Donato, arguably the best quarterback in the conference. What was the game plan heading into the game to try to limit the Grove City offense, and do you think your team accomplished it?
Our defense played in the first half the best game they've played all season. They were physical. They were getting to the ball. We allowed 1 touchdown offensively, Grove City. And it was really a breakdown. And earlier in the drive, we had the quarterback sacked, and he broke away and he completed a pass. We should have had a sack, and he got the one completion there. So I thought our defense was outstanding in the first half. He's a great ball player. He's having a great year. And to limit them to what we did in the first half, I thought was really good. Differently, we gave a little bit of a different scheme. We were playing 3 down linemen a lot against some of their sets, and that's unusual. We moved Joe Titler into a nose guard, and sometimes we were only rushing 1 rusher and dropping 10. So that confused him. You could see he was running around a little bit. So that was working. Second half, we wore down a little bit. We couldn't get anything going offensively, so we couldn't keep their offense off the field. So that was a breakdown, more on offense and trying to not helping our defense enough, I believe.
Well, speaking of the offense, you said last week Grove City's defense was going to present a challenge for the team. They're not flashy, they don't stand out with a lot of big players, but they're fundamentally sound. Do you think that was the case this week in the offensive struggles, or is it more of an execution thing?
It was both. They had some pretty active, pretty strong guys in the middle, and then they hurt us a little bit with some blocking schemes. We couldn't block them, and then we did score a couple of long passes. But the idea was to think we could run the ball against them, and I was disappointed we couldn't run the ball better against them. We're not running the ball well on offense, and we've got to learn to run the ball better.
Well, the 3 touchdowns we scored all in the fourth quarter were all via long pass plays. A 32-yard pass to Shelton Wagner, a 42-yard pass to Marvin Daney, and a 51-yard pass to Christian Sutton for his first career reception. What made you call the pass plays at that time? Was it something you spotted, or did you just try to put a spark into the offense?
Well, the first one was the reverse pass. We work on it all the time. It's a little bit of a special play, and I just thought it was good timing, and we'll try to take a shot. The second one was, what everybody calls a Hail Mary. We call it home run, and we were a little bit desperate. We weren't getting anything done, and Sheldon made a great play on the ball and got up and took it away. And the third touchdown, Christian Sutton's touchdown, honestly, the defense misplayed it, and Christian was able to come up with the ball. So, I mean, they weren't so great plays as such. We made plays on them, which is what you have to do, but we just took some shots. We were a little bit desperate at that time, trying to put some points on the board.
Well, over the first 5 games of the season, it seems to me that the freshmen, when called upon, have done pretty well. David Ribeiro is one of the leading tacklers in the conference. Also defensively, Josh Catalano has stepped in and done well. Nick Revis is starting to emerge. We talked about Christian Sutton. His first collegiate catch the other day was a big one. How do you feel about the performance of your younger players? And do you think that the overall experience on this team, you really don't have to throw the freshmen into the fire, so it lets them mature a little bit. How big is that?
Well, David Ribeiro has earned his starting spot. He is a bright young talent. He's all over the field. He's very physical. He's very active. He has been what we thought he was going to be when we recruited him. Josh Catalano, honestly, has been a pleasant surprise. Josh is a solid ball player, not real big, but he's just a solid, unspectacular ball player. But when you look at film, he gets his assignments down, and he doesn't hurt us on defense. In other words, he's always in the right position. it's nice to have Christian make a catch and get some confidence in himself, because he's another young man that has a lot of ability, but he's really young. And it's good not to have a young team playing all the time. You know, last couple of years it was mostly freshmen and sophomore playing, and now we have some juniors that are playing and playing fairly well. John Jackson had another great game on defense, and Rob James come up with 2 more interceptions, and I believe he's in the lead or tied for the lead for receptions in the league. So some of those older players are showing the younger players how to play, and hopefully it's going to pay off for us along the way.
The younger players also have to benefit from the Bearcat Junior Varsity program. Play against most of the PAC schools. They also had a couple games against Division I St. Francis, as well as the Navy sprint team. When you were working with the JV team today, what's the philosophy like? Game, is it the same playbook, same kind of philosophy week in and week out, and what kind of benefits does it have for the freshmen and the sophomores?
Well, the good benefit is they get to play games. Those guys assimilate the other team during the week. In other words, they're going to run Geneva's plays, they're going to run Grove City's plays. They don't get a chance to practice our offense or our defense very much. We take some time on Thursdays to get them back into the fundamentals of our offense and our defense. And we've been able to schedule 6 JV games this year, which is beneficial because some of those players are developing. We've moved some players up and getting them more playing time with the varsity because of their performance in the JV games. And it's a reward for their more hard work, and they love to go out and play. The JV games are always fun. Like I said, somewhat disorganized because you don't know who's going to be on a special team, and they don't get a lot of work running the offense and defense. So it's always kind of fun to see how guys are going to respond in those situations. But we like to be able to play 6-7 JV games a year. They're good teams in our league. They'll play 10 JV games a year, and that's how they develop their programs. So that's our goal, is to continue to do that. And yeah, it was fun to play against the Navy sprint team. That was, they beat us pretty bad, but it was a good experience. And we held our own against St. Francis last week. I mean, came down to the last minute of play. So I think it's been beneficial to our young kids.
Well, on the varsity side, the schedule doesn't get much easier this week for the team, as the Bearcats host Thomas More College at 1 o'clock at Chuck Noll Field this Saturday. Thomas More was one of 2 teams in the conference last year that was ranked, and one of 2 teams from the conference, along with W&J, to reach the national playoffs. And this year, they picked right back up. They're 4-0 this season, scoring 34 points this year a game, and only averaging, their defense is allowing 57 rushing yards a game. What has made Thomas More such a strong team this year, and what do we expect from them this week?
What's made them a strong team is strong players, fast players. It's a no-brainer. They have good talent. We watched their film a little bit yesterday in preparation, and they have good talent. They play hard, and they have good speed on offense. Defense, they have good size and speed. They're the type of team that we want to become. They're a similar school to us. They're a small Catholic private college outside of a big city, so they have some of the same things that we have going here at St. Vincent. When I tell our players, look at this team, this is what you can become, and that's our goal. But they just have talented players all over the field, so it's going to be a great challenge for us. They're a playoff team, and you want to go play against a playoff team to see how they play and see what we have to do in order to start winning football games.
Well, that'll be, like I said, this week's 1 o'clock at Chuck Noll Field this Saturday afternoon. If you can't make it out, the game will be aired online at redzonemedia.com. Well, that'll do it for this week's blog. For Coach Colbert, thank you again for joining me. This is Jim Berger. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.